morning across parts of central Scotland, temperatures dipping below freezing. However, those temperatures quickly rise through the morning because of widespread sunny skies. Sunshine also for Northern Ireland. In fact, it's during the morning where we'll see the best of the sunshine here. England and Wales getting off to, again, a sunny start. Some patchy cloud towards the southwest, and also for parts of East Anglia, a brisk breeze here. But for many, it's light winds, and very quickly those temperatures rise through the morning. It's dry for the vast majority as well through the bulk of the day, I suspect, certainly across Britain. But for Northern Ireland, it turns cloudier, and there will be some rain edging into the far west by the end of the afternoon. That's a sign of a significant change on the way. Warm sunshine elsewhere, but it's the last day of warm sunny skies because as we go into the bank holiday weekend, would you believe it, outbreaks of rain move in from the west, and that sets the scene for a significant change throughout next week. We're going to see westerlies return, some much needed rain, of course. It won't be wet everywhere all the time, but there will be plenty of showers around.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. Motorists face congestion on the A82 at Arden, heading southbound. Caution is advised. In Durham on the A19 north between junctions with the A182 at Easington and Merton Road, a collision blocks one lane. Traffic normality is expected before 8 tonight. Delays are reported on the M55 eastbound between Junction 2 and the M6, with 30-minute hold-ups. On the A5 in Warwickshire, southbound traffic is delayed by a broken-down vehicle. The A34 northbound in Oxfordshire, between junctions with the A415 and A423, experiences delays due to an accident. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
What does it feel like to be a Great British Giveaway winner?
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
That is absolutely fantastic.
We're over the moon.
Yes, that is fantastic.
You know, you have no idea how much I needed it. Oh my goodness.
That's wonderful. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I was gobsmacked. Thank you, GB News.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it. If you're not in it, you've got no chance of winning it.
Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You really could be our next big winner. Head over to gbnews.com/win now to find out how and get your entry for the Great British Giveaway. Great prizes, even greater wins.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dewberry, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, it's 6 o'clock. I'm Michelle Dewberry, and this is Dewbs Co. Coming up tonight, sentencing. We talk about that often, that it needs to be harsher, say many people. Well, changes afoot. Let's take a look at them. My personal favourite, I've got to be honest, that paedophiles will be chemically castrated. Good is what I say. But please go further, make it all of them, and please make it mandatory. What says you? And in his first television interview, I speak exclusively to Ray Connolly, Connolly, the husband of the imprisoned mother, Lucy Connolly. And net migration, again, we talk about this often, turns out it halved in 2024. Good, say many people, long may it continue. But, of course, it's the harder stuff, the illegal migration, that most eyes are on. Lots to get stuck into tonight. We'll have all of that and more. Of course, the Chagos Island, that deal has been signed as well. Alongside me then till 7, I've got Kelvin McKenzie, the former editor of The Sun, and I've got Scarlett Maguire, the former Labour advisor. But before we get stuck in, let's cross live and give you your 6 o'clock news headlines.
Thanks very much indeed, Michelle. Good evening to you. Just after 6 o'clock, our headlines. The government has signed a deal to hand over control of the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. The UK will then lease back the military base on the island of Diego Garcia, which the US also uses at a cost of £101 million per year. The government says agreeing a deal was the only way to prevent other nations from setting up bases there. Now, it was temporarily delayed by a last-minute court injunction brought by a group of protesters. They were outside the High Court, but that was discharged around midday. Now, critics say the deal is too expensive and Mauritius will not adequately protect the military base, given the country's close relationship with China. But the Prime Minister says it is vital for the UK's national security.
The strategic location of this base is of the utmost significance to Britain. From deploying aircraft to defeat terrorists in Iraq and Afghanistan, to anticipating threats in the Red Sea and the Indo-Pacific, the base is right at the foundation of our security and safety at home.
However, the leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, says the government shouldn't give up British territory at a huge cost to the taxpayer.
The Chagos Islands have been British since 1814. Only Keir Starmer's Labour Party would negotiate a deal where we're paying to give something away. This is a vital military base. Mauritius is an ally of China. With everything that's going on in the world, this is not the time to be giving away a vital strategic military base or paying to do so. Whenever Labour negotiates, Britain loses. This is yet another example of a party that does not work in the national interest.
A national rollout across 20 prisons will pilot the chemical castration of sex offenders, with the government considering making it mandatory. The move is part of a major review aimed at cutting reoffending and easing prison overcrowding. Other proposals include scrapping short sentences, early release for some violent offenders and automatic deportation for foreign criminals. The review says these changes could reduce the prison population by nearly 10,000 people. Authorities in the United States say multiple people on board a small plane that crashed in San Diego have died. Homes and cars in the Murphy Canyon neighbourhood, which houses military service members, caught fire earlier. Nearby properties were evacuated. Now, officials have described it as a direct hit to multiple homes, which has left a gigantic debris field. No one on the ground has been injured, but it is not yet known how many people were on board the plane. Finally, the Princess of Wales has officially named the Royal Navy's newest warship at a ceremony in Scotland.
I have the pleasure to name this ship HMS Glasgow. May God bless her and all who sail on her.
Princess delivered the time-honoured words before smashing a bottle of local scotch against the hull of the HMS Glasgow. Not personally, she used a button. It is the first of 8 frigates to be built there, designed to protect the UK's nuclear deterrent. And the ceremonial act is said to bring good luck and fortune to the vessel and its crew. That's it for the moment. I'll be back with another bulletin at around 7 o'clock.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Thank you very much for that. My name's Michelle Dewberry. This is Dewbs Co. We're keeping you company until 7 o'clock tonight. Alongside me, I've got my panel, Kelvin Mackenzie, the former editor of The Sun, and Scarlett Maguire, the former Labour advisor. Good evening to both of you. You're very welcome tonight. As are each and every single one of you at home, what, ladies and gents, is on your mind tonight? Boy, oh boy, it's been a busy day with lots of announcements, hasn't it? A lot of things that are eyebrow-raising, a lot of things that have made some of you celebrate, a lot of things that have made some of you feel quite depressed. Let's get into all of it, of course, whether it's Chagos, whether it's sentencing, whether it's my favourite topic, quite frankly, something that I've always been going on about paedophiles being castrated. We've got lots that we need to talk about, and you can join the conversation, of course, all the usual ways. You can email me at gbviews@gbnews.com. You can go to the website gbnews.com/yoursay, or, of course, you can tweet or you can X me. Now, a story that really has got all of us talking now for quite some time is the story of Lucy Connolly. We'll all be familiar with this off the back of the horrendous attacks in Southport. Of course, like anyone, Lucy Connolly was a mother who felt absolutely infuriated, distressed, traumatised by what had happened. We know the story and how it unfolded. She took to Twitter, posted words that nobody would endorse, nobody thinks that were great, but reflected her upset and frustration and anger at the time. Of course, then she received 31 months in prison for that. There was an appeal, of course, that was heard, which denied a shortening of that sentence and denied that Lucy Connolly would be released and returned back to her family. I can tell you now that this case has now been raised to the White House as well. We know that they've had harsh words to say, haven't they, about freedom of speech in this country, and I'm delighted to say that joining me now in an exclusive first television interview, Lucy Connolly's husband, and of course the former Tory councillor Ray Connolly, joins me now. Good evening to you, Ray. Thank you for talking to us and the GB News audience. Now, just take us back, if you will. How did you feel when you returned home and you first got wind of all of this unfolding?
Oh, yeah, well, I just came home from work. I knew something had happened, and I tried to get in the house, but I couldn't because the key was half done. I thought that's a bit unusual, but my daughter come down and she opened the door for me. Lucy was in the back room with all the babies waiting for the parents to pick up, and she was like really scared. I mean, I knew something could happen, but I thought something could happen to one of her kids who was in such a state. So then she just mentioned about what had happened at that nursery, back dance class. You know, obviously she was really upset about it. So yeah, it wasn't really a pleasant thing to come into.
So the sentence, 31 months, she actually became eligible for some temporary release. They call it ROTL, release on temporary licence. That became applicable, as I understand it, back in November. That must have been a huge relief to you to know that she was potentially going to be able to visit you and visit your daughter, but it didn't happen, did it?
No, I mean, it was all positive. I mean, the probation teams, what were dealing with it, with Lucy, they said, look, you know, well, be honest, they said, this would be a done deal because you're easily managed, you're not a risk, but you are Lucy Connolly. But she was still confident, even the probation was still quite confident. But then he didn't get back to her, and then it was such a long delay. Then they did come back to her eventually and said that it'd been refused. So she wanted to speak to the probation officer who was dealing with it, and he was, signed off on long-term sick, so she'd never seen him again. He'd had a bit of a bust-up with the governor, apparently.
So, I mean, talk to us, if you will, about your daughter. I mean, she's 12 years old. This is her mummy. All of this will have been such a confusing, upsetting, distressing whirlwind to her, I imagine. How is she coping with this?
Not really very well. I've had to send her to Lucy's mum's to see if she can help her settle down a little bit, but she is really struggling with it. I mean, she does suffer from anxiety anyway, so this really hasn't helped the situation at all. But I'm hoping she's gone to her mum's, Lucy's mum's house, and I'm hoping that might be able to just take the edge off of it a little bit for her until her mum comes home.
And how have other children been towards your daughter? Because we all know that this is a very high-profile case. Children can be very cruel to each other. How has your daughter been received in and around school, for example?
They're really they're fine with her. She doesn't really have any problems with the other children. Just normal, but she just seems to just have a problem, especially in school at the moment. She's all right around the house with me or when she's at the golf course, but as soon as she goes to school and she's away from the family and whatever, it all just seems to be a bit of a problem. But yeah, the other kids are fine. They are funny. They've been trying to tell her to get a drone so they can fly a few extra things over the fence for their mum.
Oh, nice. And some people very strongly are angered by what Lucy wrote. A lot of people do feel that she deserved the sentence. A lot of people were pleased, quite frankly, that the appeal was rejected. When you read some of those things that some of those people say about your wife, how does that make you feel?
I'll be honest, all I've had is so much support from around the area. I don't see a lot of the bad. I haven't really seen a lot of it. I guess it's out there, but all I've seen is so much positive, and I've had so much support from people from all over the world, from Canada to Australia, emails. It's been quite, really, really a lot of good support. But people are going. There's always a difference of opinion. People are going to get upset. I haven't seen a lot of it. I've seen actually a couple of little bits I've seen, but. That's their choice. At the end of the day, I'm fine. Lucy's fine. I've just got a 12-year-old daughter, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Absolutely not. I completely agree with you there. Now, when it comes to the grounds of the appeal, of course, there were a couple of different aspects to that which they were looking at. One of the aspects was essentially, just to kind of paraphrase, whether or not Lucy understood what she was essentially pleading guilty to. I previously spoke to someone who was also caught up in this wave of anger post-Southport, and he found himself actually in prison on remand. He said that he felt that he was pressured to plead guilty. Of course, the government, I'm sure, would absolutely categorically deny that suggestion. Do you feel that Lucy was pressured to plead guilty?
Yeah, obviously I was having conversations with her. I wanted her to go to a jury. I felt she would be able to convince the jury and other people, the barrister as well, who I was talking to, felt that was her best option because they would give her a lengthy sentence. But she was convinced by the appointed advocate that her best option was to plead guilty. She'd get a reduced sentence and she'd be home probably around about Christmas.
Right. And I've seen as well, of course, we're soon to be talking on this programme actually about some of the sentencing reviews and tweaks that have been discussed and announced today. I looked at the statement that you issued after the appeal was rejected, and you said that you feel like that there is two-tier justice in this country when you're talking about prisoners. Some of them, you say, dangerous men that have released on tag, etc. Talk me through this two-tier justice that you feel exists.
Well, obviously, it's just, it's just what I see on the TV, what I see in the newspapers, a really big inconsistency. So obviously, yeah, I'm going to take it personal when I look at Lucy, and I just think, they're making a big example of her. Even today, I'm walking in the shop, people are looking at me down in the supermarket, and I'm like, what's his problem? And they come up to me, and I don't know who this guy is, and he goes, oh, you're Ray Connolly? Oh my God, they're so harsh with your wife.
So what do you think? What do you think is driving this? Where do you think it's coming from? What do you think is behind this?
I just think that we've got a government are just doing what they want to do, and if anybody don't like it, as Keir Starmer said, leave. And it's totally intimidation.
And you, I've also seen in your statement, you say that you don't regard Lucy as, quote, a far-right thug, as the Prime Minister was suggesting that these people were. Tell me more.
Of course not. I mean, you know, obviously Lucy was, you know, I mean, even in the prison herself, the girls were saying, "Oh my God, Lucy, you know, they're all over you," and she's got like this poster girl image of that she's the poster girl of the far right, being all over every TV channel, every newspaper around the world, and she went into trial without a chance. I mean, she's not far right. She's nothing to do with the far right. She's probably the worst example you could have as being far right.
And how is Lucy coping with prison? I mean, I can't imagine. I've looked into Lucy. She was a childminder, a mum. She gets great references from the families that she's cared for the children. You've got many, actually, children from ethnic minorities. The parents have come out and give glowing references for your wife. To me, she seems just a normal woman. How does she then go from that into incarceration for the first time in a prison? How is she dealing with that?
Well, it's tough for her, but obviously she's had some of these children visit her, and it's funny at, like, you know, they turn up, and I remember her saying, "Oh, we're here to see our English mum," and it kind of that gives her strength. The children are always thinking about her. I do get messages from the parents how the children are missing her, and I said, "Look, as soon as Lucy's home, we will go and visit her." Inside prison, at the start of it, it was tough, but you know, obviously because of some of the statements, what were misleading from the police, she had a hard time. But the girls in there who are not shoplifters, although they, you know, Lucy hid in the cell she wouldn't come out of it she got into trouble. She wouldn't leave because of, well, threats and whatever. But eventually these girls got to know her, and, you know, the last conversation with one of these girls, because they do run the prison, and she came up to Lucy and went, "Look, Lucy, I'm ever so sorry. You're not that person they said you were." And that's a person who was only a month ago going, "I'm a person of colour. You said this." So it took Lucy a month to get them to change. So I'm hoping that when Lucy's released, the press have done everything. I mean, the government have used the press to destroy this family, and I'm hoping that they'll give Lucy the opportunity to use that to give her version of events, and just let her speak and try and defend herself. And I think she'll do a really good job.
Well, she's absolutely, of course, welcome on GB News anytime. Let me ask you this then as a final question. If you could take this opportunity to give a message to Keir Starmer, to the Home Secretary, or to the broader government, what would that message be, Ray?
You've picked Lucy Connolly as the poster girl of the far right. When she gets the opportunity to come out and have her say, I think she'll pretty much change people's minds. She's done a good job of that now with just a couple of phone calls from the prison. And I think when she's sitting on the sofa, sitting on Zoom, talking to people, there'll be a different Lucy Connolly portrayed. And some of these people probably need to clear the desk.
Interesting. Ray Connolly, thank you very much for talking to me and to the GB News viewers. I've got to tell you, there is a huge amount of support. I talk to my viewers every day, and I've covered this story frequently now. There is such an outpouring of support from Lucy. Of course, nobody condones the sentiments within that tweet, but so many people think that she is being harshly treated and that she absolutely should be released from prison. And many of my viewers, and myself too, actually, hope that one day, very soon, she is reunited with you and with her broader family. But for now, thank you very much for your time.
Michelle. Thank you.
Scarlett Maguire, your thoughts?
I think it's a terrible shame. I mean, I think that it's not a question of free speech, and I absolutely agree with you, is that the tweet was awful and needed an apology right away, because I do I mean, even in America, where they would do it, a judge said one should be able to say what one wants, but you can't shout fire in a cinema, in a theatre, he called it. And I think having a tweet saying set fire to all the effing hotels full of, for all I care, you know, while you're at it, is, I mean, it was terrible. I've heard judges explain, this isn't about the government, I've heard judges explain why it was the right thing to do. I don't understand the sentencing guidelines. I'm not a lawyer, right? That's what it's about. I think for you to start talking about the government is wrong. I mean, this is a judge who did it, and then appeal court judges who said, no, she can't have her sentence reduced because of sentencing guidelines. I mean, you know, actually the political pressure is release her. There's no question about that.
Do you think? Do you think that most politicians, you say politically? Keir Starmer, I played a clip of him a couple of days ago. He turned around and said he didn't know the details of this case when he was asked, which I've got to be honest, I'm not actually sure that I believe.
No.
But anyway.
Nobody would believe that. I mean, after all, there was only one thing to know, which was what the tweet was and what the sentence was. OK, you've just explained what the tweet was, and the sentence was 31 months. The sentence was an absolute outrage. And it's an outrage. And so the interesting aspect to it all is there are loads of people going out there beating the hell out of pensioners in the streets and getting 18 months. There's even sexual assaults. Actually, one of the appeal court judges was party to Lord Ahmed having a reduction for his sexual assaults, which gave him only 2.5 years. So for sexual assaults of a boy and a girl, actually, Lord Ahmed, Labour peer, you probably know him, right,
I don't.
OK, you ended up with less of a sentence than this woman. In a burst of anger, she goes like that on a tweet. A tweet is of no account. You bash somebody over the head, you sexually assault somebody, you do some rather complicated fraud. You don't even get 31 months for that. There has to be another feeling about this. And my feeling about that is actually they wanted to crack down on the kind of sense that you could say what you liked. And actually, she suffered. It's a disgrace. And by the way, Starmer's a disgrace as well.
You will have very strong opinions on this, I am sure. We shall continue the conversation after the break. And also, we've had an update today on net migration. Let's look at that in 2.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays, I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Now, NHS trusts are being told to prioritise ethnic minority applicants for interview shortlists, and they justify hiring white British candidates. Now, the official guidance says at least one BAME candidate must be shortlisted, even if white candidates are better qualified. And one NHS trust admitted using positive discrimination to decide who even gets an interview. Now, managers are also told to use race as a tiebreaker, and guess who wins in that case? And to explain themselves if the hire isn't from a minority background. Now, some won't even move forward unless it's a non-white candidate is in the mix altogether. Now, all this while NHS backlogs are hitting record highs. What a carry-on. Dr. Mukherjee, let's start with you. When you look at the naked truth here, there must be BAME candidates on shortlists. You have to justify hiring white British candidates, and a tiebreaker, a toss of the coin. If there's an ethnic minority and a white person, the job will be given to the ethnic minority. Do you think that's racist?
That is racist. And it goes against the fundamentals of the NHS, which is about patient care and quality of care. And as a patient myself, I mean, I know I'm a doctor myself, but by all means, I pay taxes, and you all do as well. We want to get the best quality people serving us. We don't want to be paying money towards some sort of diversity hire just to tick a box. That doesn't serve the purpose. I don't think I would want to be, and I'm a person of colour myself, I don't think I would want to be a diversity hire. I think it's a bit of an insult, really, to think that Of all the things I had to offer, the only thing that I have no control over, my skin colour, is what got me the job.
GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, everybody. This is Dewbs Co with me, Michelle Dewberry. Alongside me, I've got Kelvin McKenzie and I've got Scarlett Maguire. We've just been hearing there from Ray Connolly, who is, of course, the husband of Lucy Connolly, the mother who's behind bars, sentenced to 31 months for putting out a quite grotesque tweet, a tweet that many people called racist, many people called far right, and a tweet, of course, that she herself accepts was wrong. She lost her appeal to be released early. There's a huge sentiment coming in the inbox from you guys at home. Of course, everyone is in agreement that those words were wrong, the sentiment was wrong. So many of you, though, are saying that this whole notion of separating her mother from the child, a 12-year-old daughter, is just unnecessary, wrong. Trying to prove a political point, and so on and so forth. Craig says, fair enough, punish her if she was found to have done wrong. She could have done community service. A lot of people very angry about the fact that she was denied what they call that ROTL, a release on temporary licence. Nigel says, when she does get released, I want to buy her a drink and I want to shake her hand. The way she's been treated is absolutely appalling. Stephanie said, in my view, she is a political hostage. There is a sense that there is a two-tier system, I have to say, that's coming through on the inbox. Of course, there's also people pointing out, as we already know, that her words were wrong. We all, of course, accept that. I sit and I think to myself, just imagine being a normal person, so you're not a criminal, you're not someone with a criminal record or whatever, and you find yourself in this situation where you've done something in the heat of the moment, you find yourself arrested, you find yourself in a police station, in a cell, whatever. It must be so terrifying, and you don't know what to do, and you're being told, you know, your tweet, it was inciting racial hatred, to even know what to do for the best. And ultimately, you just want to go home, you want to make the whole thing go away, you want to be back with your daughter, you want to be back with your husband. I interviewed someone, Scarlett, that was also caught up in this. He was, again, in that same situation. He was accused of various different things, and he said that he felt that he was pressured, significantly pressured to plead guilty. He maintained that he was innocent, but he suggests that he was pressured. I've got no one here from the Home Office, the government or the justice system to defend themselves. I'm sure that they would deny that.
Hold on, no. I actually agree with you, but I don't think it's the Home Office. I don't think it's the government. I mean, many years ago, the police had me in for... I was driving an ice cream van, and an ice cream van hit another car, and they decided it was me. And they nearly convinced me. They kept on saying, you know, it'll be much better for you if you plead guilty. I was lucky enough that 10 miles away, it was some little girl's birthday, and I'd sold her father an ice cream. And I went to him and said, do you remember me? Will you sign a thing so that I can give it to the police? They nearly convinced me I did it, and I didn't. The pressure doesn't come from the government. I mean, they don't go anywhere near it. The pressure comes from A, the police, and B, your solicitor.
I take issue with that. So, and the reason I take issue with that is that Starmer led a political drive as the Prime Minister against all that was going on at that time. Judges get their preferment within the judicial system. Right. And can you imagine any judge stepping out of line when he knows that the atmosphere out there is cracked down on everybody? Now, there may be people in there that should have been cracked down on, and she was not one of them. 31 months for... Normally, if you're a mum, it is the fact that you're a mum doesn't get you sentenced. Sometimes that aggravates me. This time, she produces this, and they say, we don't care about that. You're going to get a sentence larger than we would normally give somebody involved in sexual assault?
What I'm trying to say, I'm not talking about judges. What I'm trying to say is that she pleaded guilty, right? And the reason she pleaded guilty was probably a mixture of advice from a solicitor that I wouldn't want to libel him on her or him on air, but advice from a solicitor and pressure from the police. What is by the time she went to the judge, she was pleading guilty. What I'm agreeing with Michelle is that I'm sure there was pressure on her to plead guilty from a lot of people saying it will be easier and that it will be really difficult if she pleads not guilty. And actually, that's why, if you are involved in something, you need a really good solicitor.
Yeah, but I would say, actually, that I do think that there will have been pressure coming from the government. And again, I have to stress, no one's here from the government. They would dispute what I'm about to say. But I do believe that there was pressure upon. I'll give you an example. On August the 14th, a tweet was issued. And apparently, tweets must absolutely be taken at their face value, of course. And it said the following. It was a graphic. It said more than 1,000 arrests, basically, had been made. And then the wording was, these criminals will face the full force of the law. But we have a principle in this country where you are innocent until proven guilty. And just because you are arrested for something, that does not make you a criminal, and it does not automatically presume that you will face the full force of the law, because you could be innocent. But that tweet immediately decided that those 1,000 people that had been arrested, they were definitely guilty, and they were definitely going to face, quote, the full force of the law. That was from the Home Office.
And what I'm trying to say is we're talking about one example, and I am saying that the advice she was given to plead guilty did not come from the Home Office or from the judges. It will have come from both the police who interviewed her and from her solicitor. And that's what is wrong. I mean, I'm trying to be sensible, but to start saying the whole thing is a political thing up here, when actually...
I'm sensible. It was Keir Starmer was the one. Keir Starmer was the one that took to the streets. He was calling people far right. He was making out that there was this
He thought there was politics in it for him. He was thinking, I tell you what, I can ditch anybody on the right, the Tories or Reform, by associating them exclusively with this rioting. And so you're a judge. OK, supposing we take your point. She's had bad advice. She's had bad advice, and now she's at the behest of the court. Right? She's at the behest of the court, and the court says, I tell you what, you're a mum, got an 11-year-old child. I tell you what, that tweet actually is important. It's 31 months. A tweet. How do I know? I tweet all the time. They are not important. They are a moment in time. It's not as though it hasn't been... It's not like a paper, hasn't been through an editing process. There isn't an editor. There isn't a kind of a libel. There isn't a judicial aspect to what's being done. And they treated it in this way. And the reason why the judges do that is because they aren't on social media. They're not allowed on social media. They don't understand. It's just the flip-flop of life. And everybody moves on and everybody goes and does their shopping or picks their kids up. And so we have judges who aren't in touch with what's going on, and the only effect on them in life is what is the Justice Minister saying? What is the... that's where they get... That is where their power source lies. That's why we should have them... We should have elected judges so that they reflect everybody in society and not just socialists and liberals.
And I do feel
Since when... Hold on.
Yeah, no, I'm in favour of this.
Judges, socialists and liberals... Give me a break. I mean, the left has always said, judges, they go to Oxford and Cambridge. Most of them are privately educated. Most of them are very rich white men. Don't give me this stuff.
Where do you think when they want preferment within the judicial system, there is only one way they're going to look? They're going to look to the political leaders. And I promise you that you cannot get preferment in the judicial system by being of the right. And in America, they solved this in the Supreme Court by making individual presidents able to appoint people of their own political persuasion. We only have Liberals that run our judicial system, and we end up with the disgrace of Lucy
and for 14
Connolly's
years,
judgment.
we've had a Tory government, so don't tell me that judges are Liberals.
Do you know, I can see my inbox and lots of you are getting in touch with the name Mike Amesbury. A lot of people mention that when they talk about two-tier justice. Of course, he was the one that physically walloped one of his constituents. He didn't tweet him, he whacked him. Of course, he had his jail sentence turned into essentially community service, for want of a better word. I wonder if it was a Reform UK MP that had walloped one of their constituents, whether or not they would get their prison sentence turned into community service and the like. Anyway, get your thoughts on that coming in, and we'll be speaking about law and order after the break, because of course we've got sentencing reforms. My favourite subject, ladies and gents, is coming up as well. Get yourself settled down, it'll be a good one. I'll see you in 2.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
There's the chance of a little bit of light rain in Sicily over the course of the weekend. Small chance of some showers in Mallorca as well. Plenty of sunshine for Greece. That should continue for the next few days. We've seen some wet weather across Croatia recently, but the showers here are also clearing. There's that thicker cloud and patchy rain that may affect Sicily. 1 or 2 showers for Mallorca and Menorca. Small chance of a shower or 2 in southern Spain as well, but generally Spain and Portugal and the Canaries set fair with plenty of sunshine for the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. We're going to see skies clear widely overnight, and that will lead to a chilly night for many of us. A late season frost, gardeners beware, but plenty more sunshine to come during Friday. We've still got high pressure in charge only for another 36 hours or so. A cold front has sunk south through the day, and that's leaving a legacy of patchy cloud which eventually fizzles away during the hours of darkness. 1 or 2 showers for the far north of Scotland, perhaps the odd one running down North Sea coast, but otherwise it's clear skies, and with cool air in place now, a widespread chilly night with temperatures into the low single figures and in some spots even below freezing. So yeah, if you've got tender plants outside, beware of that. There will be a late season frost, certainly a chillier feel Friday morning compared with recent mornings, but plenty of sunshine across Scotland, Northern Ireland, England and Wales. I think the morning will be the sunniest time for Friday across Northern Ireland and some western fringes of the UK, but otherwise actually temperatures rising quickly through the morning because of the sunshine, and that sunshine sticking around for the bulk of Britain at least into the afternoon. Some changes are starting to take place across Northern Ireland, cloud thickening around lunchtime, outbreaks of rain reaching the far west by the middle of the afternoon. 19 Celsius in Belfast, 20 in London. A fresher feel compared with recent days for many, but not quite as chilly down that east coast compared with Thursday. Then a significant change for the bank holiday weekend. We've got a spell of rain moving through, followed by showers. It's not going to be raining everywhere all the time this bank holiday weekend, but certainly a big difference compared with spring so far, and a knock-on effect on the temperatures. But of course, we do need the rain.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dewbberry, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, everybody. Michelle Dewberry, Kelvin McKenzie and Scarlett Maguire with you until 7 o'clock. Ian has got in touch and said, Michelle, I'm an ex-detective, Lucy Connolly. Why was she ever remanded in custody after charge remand? He says, was supposed to be based on flight risk or risk of further offending. That's raising eyebrows for Ian. I've got to tell you, Ian, that question and comment has come through quite a lot. And it wasn't just Lucy that happened to. It happened to a number of others as well. But look, we've been talking about sentencing then, haven't we? There's been a review conducted, actually. It was led by the former Justice Secretary David Gauke. It had quite a lot of very interesting things in it, as you will know. I am a fan of tough law and order. A big solution to much of all of our problems, if you ask me, is just build more prisons, keep building them and keep building them until people get the message that if you mess around, you will indeed be behind bars. But look, we've got lots of different suggestions now. Scrapping prison sentences of less than 12 months, for example. Early release for people that go on and behave themselves. We've got more money for probation. Let's listen to our Justice Secretary then talking about this.
I welcome the recommendations to make it quicker and easier to deport foreign criminals. We will also conduct further work with the Home Office on how we can deport foreign prisoners serving less than 3 years as soon as possible after their sentencing. The review has recommended we continue a pilot of so-called medication to manage problematic sexual arousal. I will go further with a national rollout beginning in 2 regions covering 20 prisons.
Honestly, I can barely contain myself. Can't wait to talk to you about this castration of paedophiles. If you watch the show often, you'll know how strongly I feel about that. I'll come on to that after the break. But before I get there, what's your thoughts, Kelvin, on the broader sentencing changes?
I'm stunned. I'm stunned that for very serious crimes, they're going to go down from, can be 2/3 of serving a sentence, going to go down to 1/3. And the under 12 months, can I tell you that there are some very, very serious happenings in the street, beatings up and burglaries and thefts and the like, of which 12 months, if it's been your house, which has been wrecked by a couple of often drug-taking thugs, right, you think that is entirely appropriate to discover that instead they're going to be given a tag or some kind of ability not to go on social media or not to be able to drive a car. I don't think this is a sentence at all. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I do understand the issue that we have too many criminals in our country and not enough jails. I do get that. This is a problem for our country. We are a crime-ridden country. However, the answer to this is actually not to say to the most serious criminals in our world, actually, do you know what? When we give you 10 years, you're going to be out in 3, actually, if you behave yourself. The major drug lords actually back on the streets again, ruining the lives of tens of thousands of people. I think it's absolutely mad. And the only reason Gauke got this job was because he was agreed with Mahmoud beforehand. Don't worry about this. I will give you what you want, which is actually less prisoners in jails. Actually, you ask the country, they want more prisoners in jails. What we should have done, and this is where I'm going to have to shoot Scarlett's balloon, is we had a useless 14 years of not building enough jails to deal with our people. David Cameron was a complete idiot and he thought everybody had some good in them. What they've discovered is that a lot of people have a lot of bad in them.
Yeah, I think it's such a stain on the Tories that they didn't actually create more prison places. Scarlett?
Right, so what's important is that in the end, most prisoners come out of prison. And the problem is that if you look at the rates of them going back in again, is that for prisoners who do less than 12 months, it's like a revolving door. And actually, the people who do community service are more likely to not go back in. I mean, the thing is, how do we keep this country safe? That's what it's about. What we want is we want to stop crime. And the way to stop crime is to actually is to invest in what is the problem. I was listening this morning to the head of the probation service, who was saying, you know, the prisoners come out, they go in, and they, as you say, there's often drugs, there's often alcohol problems, there's massive problems at home. They come out, and if they go back to think they'll be back in prison in 6 months. And on the way back, they will have destroyed a few people's lives. So what you want is you want to stop it. And what they say is that good probation to actually. So there are things like alcohol tags that stop you from having alcohol, drugs. I mean, these tags, you joke, but actually, if you do community service, I mean, what we need to do.
What about the victim? Can I ask about the victim in all this?
I'm trying to stop the victim.
OK, but I am the victim. I've had my house broken into, everything has been wrecked, and a load of stuff. Me and my family and my wife and whatever have had stuff stolen. And then somebody says to me, I tell you what, we don't think going to jail is going to help old Tommy, you know. What we're going to decide to do is we're going to give him one of those little tags and tell him that he can't go on Instagram.
No. And then
how do you deal with that?
You then do.
How do you deal with that?
No, Kelvin, you then do proper community service, right? You do proper community service, which is a punishment.
Like sweeping leaves up and stuff like that.
Actually, you should watch The Outlaws, which is a wonderful.
Would you be up for them doing the criminal community service in like a boiler suit with criminal on their front and back?
I don't really care. What I mind about is they've done one thing wrong. What we want to do is we want to stop them from doing it again. And actually, Texas, which is hardly a liberal state, in Texas, they've found out that if you do proper, tough community service, you cut the crime rate.
What do you make to all of this at home? I want you to join the conversation. I'll bring you in after the break. And, of course, I want to look at this topic about paedophiles and castration. I'll see you in 2.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your-say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dewbberry, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
What is the state of our economy? What is the state of our National Health Service? What is the state of our schools?
What on earth is going on?
Understanding Britain means understanding the state we are in. This is State of the Nation with me, Matt Goodwin, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays from 8 p.m. on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello Hello there, I'm Michelle Dewberry. Till 7, Kelvin McKenzie and Scarlett Maguire alongside me. Billy said, please can I just come in this conversation about Lucy Connolly? He says, I want to say she deserves a sentence and she deserves to be behind bars. Well, you're very welcome. All viewers, in fact, are welcome on Dewbs Co. If you missed that interview with Lucy Connolly's husband, you can go back and watch that on Catch Up. Now, I've got to say, if you are a regular viewer of this programme, you will know that there is a topic I feel very passionately about indeed. In fact, I've spent years of my life talking about it. Take a listen. Mandatory chemical castration. I believe that it's time that chemical castration for paedophiles is made mandatory. Make it mandatory for chemical castration as well for said paedophiles. That would reduce the reoffending rate. But as I always say, luckily for you lot, I'm not in charge. Hey, she's a sensible woman, that lady, isn't she? I've got to say, yes, I do talk about this subject often. I do not believe that we take the safety and protection of our children in this country as seriously as we absolutely should. I think it's absolutely disgusting that you can be behind bars, as in the case of someone like Lucy Connolly, for tweeting something in fury, but yet you can look at child abuse imagery and you can essentially get a slap on the wrist, maybe find a little bit of money, and so on and so forth. You would never see, in some cases, the inside of a prison cell. I think it's disgusting. I've always said, if you have a sexual orientation which involves the harm of children, very simply, that sexual orientation must be removed. I don't care if you're up for it, if you're into it. I don't care if you want it. It should be mandatory. It should be forced if it has to be. Many people would say, actually, it should be physical. But, you know, I do accept the boundaries of which I have to operate. So I would settle for castration that is chemical. Now, Shabana Mahmood, she is now suggesting that she will explore this. She wants to roll out a trial that's been taking place in prisons. It delights me. Does it you, Kelvin?
Well, I'm in favour of it. The only issue I have is I wonder whether it's just PR to cover up the real disgrace in this, which is the reduction of killers getting their sentences reduced by 1/3 to 1/3. So you get 15 years for killing somebody, you're out in 5, which is the detail on this. On this, she's saying to expand voluntary
medication to manage problematic sexual arousal.
To expand voluntary. Now, what I don't know, perhaps you guys spend more time...
she says that she will explore whether or not it could be made potentially mandatory.
She does. She says she's going to... Right.
Of course
anybody who's been in politics for more than 5 minutes know the words explore normally means kicking it into the long grass, and with a couple of years' time have suddenly announced that there is a series of doctors who think it's disgraceful and therefore can't happen. So I'll be fascinated. My own bet is this never happens, and it's done as a piece of PR to hide their real ambition, which is to allow killers and rapists out early.
Yeah, of course. There'll be loads of doctors that pipe up saying it's unethical and all the rest of it to give people medication that they don't want. But I bet my bottom dollar a lot of those doctors had no qualms trying to force people to have the COVID vaccination that they didn't want. But anyway, I digress.
That's a good point.
I think you do digress.
That is a good point.
Thank you. I do try and make good points on my own programme. Thank you. I love the fact you're so surprised by that. Anyway, go on.
OK, I think... So what's happened at the moment is that it's been going on in 2 prisons, and she's going to expand it. And at the moment it's voluntary, and it's people who want to take it. Now, this isn't a one-off where somehow you take a drug and it's over. This is. I mean, you have to want to do it, otherwise. To make it mandatory, you'll be sectioned. They might as well stay in jail forever, frankly. It's only going to work if you do it. If you do it voluntarily. I think it's great that it is happening.
A lot of these people, they wouldn't volunteer because they don't actually think there's anything wrong with their disgraceful, disgusting, perverse mentalities and thought processes. I don't care whether or not you want to do it, and I don't care whether or not you, oh yeah, do you know what, I'll be part of this trial. I couldn't feel any more strongly about this issue if I tried. It should be mandatory, and it shouldn't be as part of a conversation about freeing up jail spaces. It should be a part of a conversation about protecting the most innocent, vulnerable people that we have in our society, which are our little children. Honestly, it gives me goosebumps even just thinking about it. Anyway, look, it's a welcome step in the right direction. Whether or not it happens is anyone's guess. But look, I'm all about optimism wherever we can have it. But that is the end of the programme. Thank you to my panel and to you at home. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. We're going to see skies clear widely overnight and that will lead to a chilly night for many of us. A late season frost, gardeners beware, but plenty more sunshine to come during Friday. We've still got high pressure in charge only for another 36 hours or so. A cold front has sunk south through the day and that's leaving a legacy of patchy cloud which eventually fizzles away during the hours of darkness. 1 or 2 showers for the far north of Scotland, perhaps the odd one running down North Sea coast, but otherwise it's clear skies and with cool air in place now. A widespread chilly night with temperatures into the low single figures and in some spots even below freezing. So yeah, if you've got tender plants outside, beware of that. There will be a late season frost, certainly a chillier feel Friday morning compared with recent mornings, but plenty of sunshine across Scotland, Northern Ireland, England and Wales. I think the morning will be the sunniest time for Friday across Northern Ireland and some western fringes of the UK, but otherwise actually temperatures rising quickly through the morning because of the sunshine, and that sunshine sticking around for the bulk of Britain at least into the afternoon. Some changes are starting to take place across Northern Ireland, cloud thickening around lunchtime, outbreaks of rain reaching the far west by the middle of the afternoon. 19 Celsius in Belfast, 20 in London. A fresher feel compared with recent days for many, but not quite as chilly down that east coast compared with Thursday. Then a significant change for the bank holiday weekend. We've got a spell of rain moving through, followed by showers. It's not going to be raining everywhere all the time this bank holiday weekend, but certainly a big difference compared with spring so far. And a knock-on effect on the temperatures. But of course, we do need the rain.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Someone is going to win the biggest prize package to date, and that someone could be you, driving away in this Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It has plenty of room for your family of 4, comes complete with kitchen, bathroom and all the space you'll need for life on the road. Plus, we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry